Good afternoon. My name is Geraldine Harton. I am your special magistrate today. You are here today because you received notice of code violations for your property. So everyone here who's going to testify, please raise your right hands to be sworn in. Do you swear affirm the testimony you can provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. If the county would like to call its first case.
The first case is going to be with Mr. and Mrs. Robert and Linda Allgaier. Initially, this is a first-time violation for these individuals. However, upon inspection of the property this morning, they are now compliant. Their issues have been resolved. They did have a couple of questions in regards to a rather substantial pile of vegetation debris that does not seem to wish to go away. They have tried multiple things and wanted to ask if potentially maybe you had an idea of what they might be able to do with it.
Mr. and Mrs. Allgaier, if you'd like to come up to the podium.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you? So I can't give you legal advice and I can't prejudge on anything that may come in the future. But from what I can tell from the pictures that staff has provided, it looks to be, it looks to me to be something of a hedge at this point almost because of all the growth that's occurred on it. So I mean, if it's a hedge, then just keep it trimmed, looking nice and neat and what have you. If it is something that you can't do that with, then it will have to be removed, right? If it becomes a complainant issue. But to me, it looks like just sort of natural vegetation that's occurring on the property. So like all the other vegetation, you'll have to keep it trimmed back and nice and neat looking, okay, to comply with the codes. Okay? And that's not a prejudgment on if something comes up later and someone complains and then I look at it and it's different or whatnot. But from right now, that's what I can see from the picture and from what staff is telling me. It's not a violation at the moment, and they're not pursuing that as a violation because it is trimmed back. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then his second question was about bringing, because there are so many vehicles and whatnot on the property, about bringing an additional vehicle onto the property and with which to be able to perform some work on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained that with everything else, that I would leave that within your purview as to whether or not you wanted to allow it and or if there were going to be any stipulations.
Okay. Well, so again, I have to follow what the code says. I can't, go off track. I have to follow the four corners of the code. And how many vehicles are allowed on the property as per the...
There is not a maximum number. However, if there are untagged, unregistered,
Mm-hmm.
they are required to be within a enclosed structure. Thank
Okay.
you.
Or what about under a fitted car cover? Is that permitted?
It doesn't say that specifically, but I allow that.
Okay.
I have a fitted car cover.
Okay, so this is what I would recommend is, probably best back behind where it's not an eyesore, right? Again, I'm not prejudging. I'm not giving legal advice. But what we want to do here and what our goal is to make sure all the neighborhoods and houses look nice and neat so that you're not bringing down the property values of everyone around you, right? And
Right.
plus you're keeping your area safe because if you have stuff out in the front yard, who knows who's going to walk up and try to mess with your things. So my suggestion is to do what you need to do to keep it safe. So maybe putting it behind your property and making sure every night you have a fitted car cover on it would probably be ideal if you do not have.
Well, see, it won't take me long to get it fixed and running and tag and registered because that's the only truck we have.
Okay.
And that's the one that's going to be using to go back and forth to the dump, hauling stuff to the dump, taking our trash to the dump,
All right.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
and
right now, it's sitting at my daughter's up on Woodlawn,
Okay.
and it's underneath the car cover.
Okay. And that should be, like I said, that should be fine if you bring it back to your house and you take a little bit to work on it, as long as it's not, in your front yard spread in pieces all over the place and
Right.
your neighbors have to look at it and it becomes dangerous for people that come by. Then you're within the code. So you just always have to make sure you're within the codes. And if you have any questions, you can contact the county and they can always advise you as well as to what needs to be done to make sure you're compliant.
Okay. Now there's a black Yukon. I don't know if you have a picture of that. The black Yukon. My daughter broke down at Murphy's USA. It was pouring oil out of the rear main seal. We had to pull her home. We just put it up on blocks where I got a transmission jack. I'm gonna put underneath it, slide the transmission back a little bit, take that cover off, change the seal, put it back on, put it back together, and it's registered and ready to go.
Okay. All right. I mean, just as long, like I said, as long as you don't, I mean, if your car breaks down, you need to work on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Then I mean, that's completely reasonable. But if it's sitting out in your front yard for, a month or so, and
No,
it's
it
in
won't-
pieces,
it
then
won't
that's
be
a
out there.
problem. Okay?
And then there's one more, that pile of mulch. She stayed up until about 2:30 in the morning. I didn't know if you noticed the lamp out there. Well, we was moving it. We got half of it moved.
Okay.
We're putting it in the driveway,
Okay.
and we're going to do the rest of it today.
Well, that's fine. I mean, it's great that you're moving mulch and improving your yard. That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
Okay? And I mean, people understand that also. Like I said, I mean, it's,
But it's come from, I don't know if you've seen previous pictures, but it's come from,
you've done a lot of work on the property.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
we really appreciate
Yes,
all
ma'am.
that you've done because you have come a long way. And we completely acknowledge the amount of work and effort it took for you to come into compliance and fix it, and the county thanks you for that.
I even lost my job
Oh,
working on this, trying to get it done. So I'm
I'm
hunting
sorry for
another
that.
job.
okay.
But it's what it is.
Right.
It's
Mm.
nothing that y'all done. It's just stuff that's accumulated.
Things happen, life
Mhm.
happens, and we understand that. But you've done a lot of work and you've done a good job with it. So I'm going to dismiss the case on staff's recommendation that you've come into compliance, and you are free to go. So thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you. God bless y'all. I appreciate it, Miss Lydia.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thanks.
Bye.
The county would like to call its next case.
And that is going to be with Mr. Michael Dayton.
Good morning or afternoon, Mr. Dayton. So if the staff would like to read the list of complaints that Mr. Dayton was served with.
Okay. He is, this is actually a repeat offense for Mr. Dayton. A code violation was discovered on the property, which is located at 22324 National Forest Road, 732, out in Sanderson. An initial complaint was filed via a neighbor on September 13th of 2024. And as stated above, this is a repeat violation. The first resulted in a lien being placed on the property due to non-compliance back in 2003, and that case expired March 19th of 2023. And the current violations are as follows. 24-144, which is no application or approval on a home occupation. 24-191, which is improper zoning for its current use. 24-205, which is not permissible use zoning. He is running an auto repair junkyard, and that is not allowed in that zoning. 24-156, storage of inoperable vehicles, excessive number of stored and inoperable vehicles, excessive number of vehicles without license plates, and excessive discarded objects. 24-139, unpermitted storage buildings, storage of hazardous, incendiary, and noxious materials. 24-135, noise and odor. 24-41, hazardous waste, nuisance and pollution. 12-25 is informational only as a repeat, and 12-27 again is informational only. Repeat offense fines would apply here if you chose to go that route.
All right. Thank you. All right, Mr. Dayton. I'm looking at a packet provided by the staff for the county that shows a great number of vehicles on the on the property, and I'm assuming based on the claims, and correct me if I'm wrong, that on these vehicles, you work on some of them as part of your job, is that correct?
I sell parts for a living.
Okay. All right, so the number of vehicles you have on the property, how many would you say that you have?
50.
50? And how, staff, will you please tell me how this complaint came about?
The what?
How the complaints came about?
I don't know who complained. And none of my neighbors do because I work on all their cars. So she said a neighbor complained, but
Okay.
do you have a name?
Mm-hmm. I do.
James Collins?
I believe it's Rollins.
Rollins? James Rollins?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he don't even live in Baker County.
No, sir, but he does own adjacent parcels to yours. And at the time the complaint was lodged,
That he hasn't been on in 20 years
Okay, it
out of the
doesn't-
words of his own
Sir,
mouth.
we're not going to argue back and forth. We're going to take turns talking, and we're going to be respectful. Okay? Right now, the question was for the staff, and then when she's done, I'll give you the opportunity to respond. Okay? Thank you.
when the complaint was made at that time, vehicles from Mr. Dayton's property extended onto Mr. Rollins's property. And he brought in where he had tried to deal with Mr. Dayton and was looking for an additional means with which to do that with. I explained to him how the process would work, what our particular vehicles would be as far as resolution. And I spoke with him today to let him know where things were, and I did ask him, and he did say that the vehicles have been removed from his property. However, the property between Mr. Rollins and Mr. Dayton does still have vehicles on it. But they have been removed from Mr. Rollins's property.
Can I say something at that point?
Yes, you may respond.
He
now.
came out wanting me to pay him rent
Mhm.
on the property, and I agreed to it. And then he changed his mind and upped the rent.
Mhm.
Then maybe 3 weeks later, he quadrupled the rent. So that's why he's mad and started complaining. I've been out there for 27 years doing the same thing I've been doing for 27 years.
Mhm.
So he just got mad because I would not rent his property at $1,500 a month.
Okay.
So that's why how it started.
Okay. Well, and so it started with a complaint, right? Can you hear me? Okay. So it started with a complaint, regardless of how the complaint came about. Staff was called. They go out and they investigate, and everything that they see that's a violation, they have to mark down, right? So regardless of whether it was a dispute over leasing a piece of property for your vehicles, the violation is still a violation where there are too many vehicles on the property, and based on your own admission, you are using your property to sell scrap parts or to fix vehicles on
Better than
the...
being unemployed or welfare.
Okay. So here's the problem: your property's not zoned for that. So in order for you to come into compliance, you're going to have to apply for rezoning to be able to have that many vehicles on your property or to do the profession that you're doing. There are how many? You said about 50 vehicles. That's quite a lot of vehicles to have on one property, even though the code doesn't specifically say how many is too many. Because of the fact that you're using it as basically for a junkyard to pull parts, that is
So I
a
can get it
problem.
rezoned?
You can apply. I can't make that determination as to whether that's going to be permitted by the county or not. You're going to have to go through that zoning process for the county to say yes, you can do that.
Well, I mean, because you have to go out of your way
Mhm.
to go down the dirt road to see this.
Yeah.
It's not an eyesore unless you go out of your way to go down a dirt road.
Yes, I understand, and that's why a lot of people move out to McClenny, right? Because you got a
Yes,
lot of land, and
absolutely.
and you want your privacy, and you want to do what you want to do. I completely get it. But unfortunately, and fortunately, we do have county codes that we have to comply with, and regardless of where we live, once there's a complaint, it's out there in the world, and we've got to uphold the codes. So we've got to do something about your property, and you know, either removing the vehicles and then also getting it rezoned, possibly to comply with what your intended use is, because
I'll check into the rezoning thing. I did not know that.
okay. And then it says there's also no application for home occupation. So the house that's on there is not
He's running the junkyard from,
the business. Is that okay?
correct.
So that would be part of the.
And it's not allowed in that zone, in his current
Okay.
zoning.
So that would all be part of the rezoning if you were going to apply and get approved for rezoning. And again, that's not up to me. That's not up to this body. You'll have to go through that process to maybe get that done. Okay, and jump through their hoops. But in the meantime, we've got to do what we've got to do here to uphold the codes. You know, I'm bound by what the codes are. So, you know, at this point, how long do you think it's going to take you to move all those cars to another location and get your property cleaned up?
A realistic answer, or something you want to hear?
No, well, I mean, you can tell me what I want to hear all day long, but that's not going to help
If
you
I
when it
had
comes
to
time to
clean
find
the
you.
property up, it would take at least 6 months.
At least 6 months to
It's
clean
not
up.
going to be an overnight thing.
Okay.
That's 26 years of collecting, I guess the way you'd want to call it.
Okay. So this is what I'm going to do, because I want to make sure that you're making progress one way or another, right? Either that you're doing what you need to do to possibly get the property rezoned, or you're cleaning up. So what I'm going to do, you said 6 months, I can give you 6 months, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 60 days for us to check in, right? To make sure that there's progress one way or another being made. Okay, and then I understand that it may not be completely done in 60 days, but we can reassess it at that time. If we come back in 60 days and staff tells me that nothing has been done one way or another, then I'd be inclined to fine you at that point. But if you're making progress, that's what we want.
Would a privacy fence help the situation?
Once we've seen what we've seen, we can't unsee it. So even if you did put a privacy fence up right now, she would still have to go behind that privacy fence to see what's there. So, and it still would be a violation until she could verify.
To my knowledge, nobody's been on the property. I got the thing in the mail. Looks like you rode down the road.
Right.
Yes, sir, that is what I did, but what she's talking about is if you decide to put up a fence, like she said, we can't unsee it. So now, and our code only allows for a 4-foot fence in the front and 6 foot on the sides and rear.
So then they would still be able to see from the front
Yeah,
all the.
Well, I'm
the
thinking
vehicles.
maybe a 10 or 12 foot fence.
that would be against code and that would be a new
It'd be a
violation.
new
I just
violation.
can't win today.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to, we're trying to come up with options here. I'm doing the best I can with giving you, as much time
Well,
as
the
I
Lord
can.
might answer our own questions. I was just diagnosed with cancer, so I might not be here much longer. So
Well,
it might be somebody
well,
else's
that's
problem.
not the answer, sir.
I don't know what to tell you.
No, I'll pray for you and pray for your recovery and your health. But that's,
But I will starting to
Okay. Well,
clean back.
Okay.
I'll do that.
All right. Well, thank you.
'Cause
Well,
I don't
let's.
want to leave that to the wife and kids to have to deal with.
Right. Okay. So that's what we'll do. We're gonna check back in 60 days. Okay, to make sure that progress is being made, because I can tell from the pictures that there's a lot that needs to be done, and I understand you're gonna have some health issues. It's gonna complicate things.
Is
So
that gonna be calendar days?
yes, calendar days. Okay. And then we'll see where you are. And like I said, as long as you're making significant progress and we keep on moving, I'd be inclined to say, okay, I'm going to give you, some more days to get this done because you're doing what you need to do. But, we keep on, then and nothing's being done, then I can go straight into fining. Okay. So, but I don't want to do that. That's not our goal here. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You have a good day.
Thank you.
And do we have any other cases today?
No, ma'am.
All right, then we are concluded. Thank you.